We had a full report on all this stuff, but basically, Mr. Brown or Mr. Black had a son named Anton or something like that, maybe. Of course, like I said, he had like 500 sons. They ran around raping everyone, and basically, just like with Abraham Lincoln, there was a couple of these great people or powerful people, and pretty much, you know, Mr. Black or Mr. Brown, basically, he wouldn't let any of his sons. He kind of let his sons have sex, but not very much. A lot of them just chopped off the tubes of their, if you were born in, you know, he would basically chop off your, tube so you couldn't have sex or reproduce, and that's why there's so many kamikaze. Out of a world of like 50 million people, basically only like 1,000 of them could reproduce or something like that. I mean, basically a standard procedure: just take the child, snip off the tube, and then he'll never reproduce. And then, I don't really know. Like I said, it wasn't me. It was Black and Brown and some other people, and some Yankees or something like that. It was what they were doing. And it was long before, I was gone. I wasn't here, so. Like I say, it's just that at the time, I had 4 exoskeleton life forms or races, that were with me, and basically they were too tough. I was a genetics computer, and I had genetically made my own protection, so my own group of people that were protecting me that weren't human or anything else and didn't speak, that much. They're basically hardwired to me, pretty much. So they would just react like reflex actions, basically. If you came in or attacked or looked threatening, they would just, whatever. So loosely, they had some freedom, and stuff like that, but realistically, they were just like insects, so, or, like ants or something like that. And so I was just, they kept attacking me, and I was just kind of like too well defended or whatever, protected, so. Anyways, thousands of years ago, Black people had gotten, through other people's kindness, they had gotten to a place of power, and then mercilessly went around, and like I said, they would kill 1,000 or 10,000 white people or 10,000 other race or life forms for everyone that was ever touched or even looked at. Like I said, they'd be like, "Don't look at me, boy. Don't look at me." Because whenever anyone looked at them or whatever, they would slap them really hard. And I don't really know. I mean, it's just what they did, so. Anyway, like I said, I didn't witness half of this stuff. I just heard about it and stuff like that. And anyway, I don't know. I mean, quite a few of the Black people got scarred because people would get to that point where they just said fuck it, and there's a lot of people that were just like fuck it, and they just shot or whatever, and they said go ahead, kill me. A lot of white people, they knew they were gonna die anyway or get tortured and abused anyway because that's what they just did that to everyone. So it wasn't Germans, it wasn't Irish or Mexicans or anything. It was Black people. And like I said, they didn't really possess. They didn't go to school or nothing. They didn't read. They didn't write. They barely even talked. Like I said, they would use basic mouth movements for like telling people things like they wanted food or they wanted sex. And they're more physical than anything else. They just grab you and they go. And that meant something. And that's basically what they would do. They would just make these little mouth movements and people knew what they wanted or something like that. Or, I don't know. And they really didn't care. Like I said, they would, and you gave them an orange or something like that and they wanted milk, they'd just shoot you. Or hit you and beat you. Anyway, yeah, at least that's what I heard. I don't really know, like I say. I mean, I saw some of it, but anyway, basically people just said fuck it. They had some pet white people, like a couple thousand white people that they pretended like had power or something. But they didn't, so. Anyway, yeah. But it was considered the Black Empire, if you call it that. So. Anyway, the Irishmen and Scottish people, they told me about it, and so did the Germans. Like they saved me and protected me and cared about me because I had nothing to do with anything. And realistically, the way I gather it, I'd just been too powerful or too strong to actually be taken down by Mr. Brown and Mr. Black. like their forces died up against my forces because you know I had exoskeletons and stuff, and so basically their people would just randomly attack, and my people would just defend. But I was just too powerful or something. I mean, I don't really know. You know, later on, you know, I had a bunch of other planets. So anyway, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, this is the way it is, the way it was. Anyway, that's why you get the Black Canyon, and Black said it was theirs, but it was really just the Black Canyon project. They called it the Black Canyon project. It was Black Canyon Mine, actually, because Black cannons were made from it. Anyway, black people sold the cannons to everyone and basically used slave labor. So, like I said, basically, you know, I had been a British or whatever, or German place, and then basically the black people went in there and basically tortured and killed and then took it over, called it theirs. So, anyway, it's part of the stock market crash or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, the black people basically removed all the evidence, or removed the evidence of everything, pretty much, and you know, all the film reels and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff where black people would be like, inventor of e-cigarettes or whatever, but they hadn't. They had just used some slave and some person to invent it for them. You know, just like me or somebody else. So, yeah, like I said, the Irishman said, "Don't count yourself lucky, little master. You're like this to everyone." So I was like, oh, yeah, at least, yeah, don't think you're so special, little master. I loved them. They'd be like, don't think you're so special, little master. They're like this to everyone. So, yeah. Anyway, I had my own group, so, and my own life forms. And, you know, I was rather safe and secure. Space can be really tough and really hard, and there were a lot of other large and powerful life forms out there, so I was just one of them. So basically, yeah, they just couldn't get to me, basically. Like some of the other people said, they just couldn't get to you, you know. I mean, they kept trying to attack you, and attacked rather mercilessly, but you were just too well defended, and basically the guy lived and died. You know, and then the other ones didn't really care about fighting anymore. So, yeah, I don't really know. Like I said, I was gone or off somewhere else or whatever, you know. So, I mean, anyway, but that's kind of how. That's why they blame me for this and that and killing so many of them. But it's like, well, you were defending yourself. I mean, it wasn't really even you; it was your other life forms, and you know, they just wouldn't let them get near you. You know, so because they knew what they're gonna do. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, they just told me about what happened, basically, and I was like, ah, strange. I was like, that's strange. Anyway, yeah. You know, I wish I could have seen it really more, but, you know, I was absent or gone, and didn't get back until later on, and then they told me what had happened. They told me how, like, I had been instrumental in basically their downfall, pretty much because I, well, I mean, you know, it didn't really matter, you know, I mean, they would do vengeance and blood feuds against everyone, but basically, you know, I had too much money and too much, it was too well defended, so I allowed British and Irish and German people to come into my group, and from there they just kind of worked it. So, like, yeah, I don't really, you know, it wasn't even really me. I wish I could take credit for the revolt, but it's like, you know, it wasn't really even me, it was them. You know, they just realized that they're like, finally we can get free or whatever. I might have had this, I'm sure I did something, basically, because I don't really like oppression, so. Anyway, yeah.